In the grand theatre of history, the play of my life stands as a drama of power, ambition, and the relentless pursuit of destiny. I am Gaius Julius Caesar, a name synonymous with both the pinnacle and the nadir of the Roman Republic. As I recount my tale, I aim not merely to justify my actions, but to offer a window into the world that forged me, the choices that defined me, and the legacy I left behind. My journey from birth to the halls of power was marked by triumphs and betrayals, alliances and enmities, moments of soaring glory and profound despair. As I unmask myself before posterity, let us begin where all stories must, at the beginning. I was born in Quintilis, July 100 BC, in the bustling heart of Rome. The Julian family, though patrician by birth, had fallen on hard times. My father, Gaius Julius Caesar the Elder, served as a praetor, and my mother, Aurelia Cotta, was a woman of intelligence and fortitude. From them, I inherited a lineage that traced its roots to Venus, the goddess of love, and a name that would one day echo through the ages. My youth was spent in the vibrant chaos of Rome, where I was educated under the stern guidance of my mother. She instilled in me a sense of discipline and a love for learning. I studied rhetoric and philosophy, subjects that would later become my weapons in the political arena. It was during these formative years that I became betrothed to Cossutia, a union that was more of a political maneuver than a matter of the heart. At the age of 18, I married Cornelia, the daughter of Lucius Cornelius Cinna, a leader of the populace faction. This marriage, a defiance of the dictator Sulla's orders, marked my first bold step into the treacherous waters of Roman politics. Cornelia bore me a daughter, Julia, and stood by me through the early trials of my career. My refusal to divorce her led to my proscription by Sulla, forcing me into a brief but enlightening exile in Asia Minor. Upon Sulla's death, I returned to Rome, where I began my ascent through the political ranks. As quaestor in 69 BC, I delivered a eulogy for my Aunt Julia, linking our family to the divine lineage of Venus. I served as a dial in 65 BC, organizing lavish games that won the favor of the masses and the ire of my opponents. In 63 BC, I was elected Pontifex Maximus, a position that bolstered my influence in both religious and political spheres. Among my early allies was Marcus Antonius, known to history as Marc Antony. His loyalty and martial prowess would later prove invaluable. Yet even in these early days, seeds of betrayal were sown. Decimus Junius Brutus Albinus and Marcus Junius Brutus, men who would become my assassins, were at this time friends and confidants. The ironies of fate and the fickleness of loyalty were lessons I learned all too well. As I recount these early years, I see the tapestry of my life beginning to take shape. The alliances and enmities, the marriages and divorces, the triumphs and setbacks, all were threads woven into the destiny that awaited me. Little did I know that each step I took was leading me inexorably toward the Rubicon, the Senate, and the Ides of March. The stage was set for a drama that would echo through eternity, a tale of ambition and betrayal, of glory and tragedy. As we move forward, the shadows of Gaul, the Senate, and the throne loom ever larger. Thus begins the chronicle of my life, a tale that will reveal the man behind the legend. The narrative of my existence is not merely a recounting of events, but an exploration of the forces that shaped me and the decisions that defined my fate. Join me as we traverse the landscapes of Gaul, the corridors of power, and the battlefield of history. In the next part, we shall delve into my marriages to Pompeia and Calpurnia, the conquest of Gaul, and my rise to the throne. The story of Caesar is far from over. It has only just begun. Political alliances in Rome were often cemented through marriage, and I was no stranger to this practice. After Cornelia's death, I married Pompeia, the granddaughter of Sulla, in a move that was intended to secure my position within the aristocracy. However, the marriage ended in scandal and divorce after the incident of the Bona Dea, where her alleged involvement in a sacrilegious act led to a public trial, and my declaration that Caesar's wife must be above suspicion. In 59 BC, I married Calpurnia, the daughter of Lucius Calpurnius Piso Caesoninus. This union was not one of love, but of political strategy, as her father's consulship strengthened my standing in the Senate. Calpurnia, ever loyal and supportive, would stand by me through the most tumultuous years of my life, bearing witness to both my triumphs and my downfall. My appointment as governor of Gaul in 58 BC marked the beginning of a series of military campaigns that would establish my legacy as one of Rome's greatest generals. The Gallic Wars were a crucible of fire and blood, where I forged my reputation through sheer force of will and strategic brilliance. My Commentary de Bello Gallico stands as a testament to these years, detailing the battles fought and the lands conquered. It was during these campaigns that I encountered Vercingetorix, the chieftain who united the Gallic tribes against Rome. The Siege of Alesia was a defining moment, where my tactical genius and the unwavering loyalty of my legions brought Gaul under Roman control. These victories expanded Rome's territories and filled its coffers, but they also sowed the seeds of my eventual conflict with the Senate. Upon returning to Rome, I found the political landscape fraught with tension. My successes in Gaul had made me both a hero and a threat. The Senate, wary of my growing power, demanded that I disband my army and return as a private citizen. It was then, on the banks of the Rubicon in 49 BC, that I uttered the fateful words, "Alea iacta est," the die is cast. Crossing the Rubicon with my legions was an act of defiance that plunged Rome into civil war. My rivalry with Pompey the Great, once an ally in the First Triumvirate, became a bitter conflict. The Battle of Pharsalus in 48 BC saw my decisive victory, and Pompey's flight to Egypt, where he met his end. This victory paved the way for my unchallenged ascent to power, culminating in my appointment as dictator for life in 44 BC. Amidst these upheavals, I developed a greater relationship with Gaius Octavius, later known as Augustus, who would become my heir. Octavian was my grandnephew and adopted son, a shrewd and ambitious youth who displayed remarkable political acumen. Our relationship was one of mentorship and paternal affection, and I saw in him the potential to continue the reforms I had begun. My reign marked a departure from the republican ideals that had governed Rome for centuries. I introduced a series of reforms aimed at stabilizing and revitalizing the state. The calendar was reformed, public works were initiated, and the citizenship was extended to many in the provinces. Yet these changes were not without controversy. The Senate, though diminished in power, remained a hotbed of resistance. The aristocracy saw my centralization of authority as a threat to their privileges, while the common people viewed me as a champion of their cause. As I reflect on these years, I see the shadows of betrayal growing ever longer. The alliances I forged and the enemies I made were setting the stage for the ultimate act of treachery. In the next part, we will explore the final days of my reign, the conspiracies that led to my assassination, and the role of those closest to me, both friends and foes. The tale of Caesar is a story of ambition and power, but also one of loyalty and betrayal, a drama that would culminate in the Ides of March. The story of my life is one of relentless ambition and the pursuit of power. My rise from the streets of Rome to the pinnacle of authority was marked by both triumph and tragedy. In the next part of this chronicle, we will delve into the events that led to my assassination and the final moments that sealed my fate. The stage is set for a climax that would echo through the annals of history, a tale of glory and betrayal, of life and death. Join me as we continue this journey through the corridors of power and the battlefields of history. The story of Caesar is far from over, it has only just begun. As I assumed the mantle of Dictator Perpetuo, I endeavored to transform Rome from a republic fraught with internal strife into a stable, centralized state. The reforms I initiated were numerous and far-reaching. I expanded the Senate, filling its ranks with loyal supporters, veterans, and provincials who owed their allegiance to me. This move was both a practical and symbolic effort to reduce the power of the old aristocracy and to create a more inclusive government, and the triumphs to help secure my reign. Citizens of Rome, friends and allies, lend me your ears as I recount the grandeur of my triumphs in our beloved city. These were the days when the glory of Rome reached its zenith, and I, Julius Caesar, returned from my conquests to be celebrated by you, the people. My triumphs, 4 in total, were held in the month of Quintilis, which you now know as July in the year 46 BC. Each triumph was dedicated to my victories in different lands: Gaul, Egypt, Pontus, and Africa. The first triumph celebrated my victories in Gaul. For nearly a decade, I campaigned across Gaul, subduing tribes, building alliances, and extending Rome's dominion. The Gauls were fierce and proud, but through strategy, strength, and perseverance, we prevailed. As I rode through the streets of Rome in my chariot, the spoils of Gaul paraded behind me, alongside captives and exotic beasts. The people cheered, celebrating the expansion of our empire. Next was my Egyptian triumph. After the death of Pompey in Egypt, I found myself entangled in the intrigues of the Ptolemaic court. There, I allied with Cleopatra, securing her throne and stabilizing the region in Rome's favor. The streets of Rome saw a magnificent display of Egypt's wealth, gold, jewels, and treasures beyond imagination. Cleopatra herself did not appear in the parade, but representations of her and the opulence of her court were prominently featured. The third triumph commemorated my victories over Pharnaces II of Pontus. This campaign was swift and decisive. In a matter of days, I crushed Pharnaces' forces at the Battle of Zela. It was here I famously declared, "Veni, vidi, vici," I came, I saw, I conquered. Rome marveled at the efficiency of this campaign, and the spoils of Pontus were paraded with due pomp and circumstance. Finally, my African triumph celebrated the defeat of the remnants of Pompey's forces, now rallied under King Juba of Numidia, and the senatorial forces in Africa. This victory marked the end of significant opposition to my rule. The procession displayed the rich diversity of Africa, its animals, its people, and its treasures, emphasizing the reach of Roman power. Throughout these triumphs, I was dressed in a purple toga and laurel crown, symbols of victory and divinity. A slave stood behind me in the chariot, whispering reminders of my mortality, ensuring humility amidst the overwhelming adulation. The streets of Rome were adorned with flowers, and the air was filled with music, chants, and the scent of incense. At the climax of each triumph, sacrifices were made to Jupiter at the temple on the Capitoline Hill, thanking the gods for their favor and seeking their continued blessings for Rome. These triumphs were not just a celebration of my victories, but a testament to the strength and unity of Rome. They were a promise of prosperity, peace, and an ever-expanding empire. As I gazed upon the joyous faces of my fellow Romans, I saw the future of our great city glorious, boundless, and eternal. Ah, the mocking song that my legions sung at my triumphs. All the Gauls did Caesar defeat, but Nicomedes defeated him. This verse was meant to remind all of Rome of a salacious and scandalous rumor about my youth. During my early years, I was sent on a diplomatic mission to the court of King Nicomedes IV of Bithynia. My enemies whispered that during my stay, I had become romantically involved with Nicomedes, a scandalous and disgraceful accusation designed to tarnish my reputation and question my masculinity and honor. The full mocking song goes, "All the Gauls did Caesar defeat, but Nicomedes defeated him. But Caesar rides in triumph, victor over all the Gauls. Nicomedes does not triumph, who defeated the conqueror." Listen to the whole song after this video. The verse acknowledges my military prowess in defeating the Gauls, which was a significant achievement and the reason for my triumph. However, it juxtaposes this with the insinuation that Nicomedes defeated me in a different, dishonorable manner, making me the feminine to his masculine in the royal bedchambers. The final lines draw a contrast between my public, celebrated victories and the private, alleged defeat, emphasizing that while I triumphantly parade through Rome, Nicomedes, who supposedly bested me in this personal scandal, does not receive any glory. These rumors were the tools of my political adversaries, aimed at undermining my authority and legacy. Yet, despite their efforts, my triumph over the Gauls remains a monumental testament to my military skill and strategic genius. As for the accusations involving Nicomedes, they remain a smear that failed to dim the luster of my achievements and the indomitable spirit of Rome. My reign saw an unprecedented flurry of construction and public works. Rome, the eternal city, was adorned with new temples, basilicas, and forums. The Julian Forum, a testament to my architectural ambition, stood as a symbol of the new Rome I sought to build. I also initiated social reforms aimed at alleviating the plight of the lower classes. Grain doles were distributed more efficiently, and colonies were established for veterans and the landless poor. The Roman calendar, a chaotic mix of lunar and solar cycles, was reformed into the Julian calendar, a more accurate and reliable system that aligned with the solar year. This reform, simple yet profound, exemplified my commitment to order and rationality. Additionally, I introduced legal reforms that streamlined the administration of justice and sought to curb corruption among magistrates. The reactions to my reign were mixed and complex. Among the common people, there was widespread support for my reforms and my promise of stability. The urban plebs, the veterans, and the provincials viewed me as a champion of their interests. Yet within the Senate and the aristocracy, there was a simmering discontent. My centralization of power and my disregard for traditional republican norms were seen as tyrannical. The Senate, once the bedrock of the Republic, was now a shadow of its former self. Its members, many of whom owed their positions to me, were divided between those who supported my vision of a strong, centralized state and those who saw me as a usurper. The latter group, harboring deep resentment, began to conspire against me. Among my erstwhile allies were men whose loyalty would eventually waver. Decimus Junius Brutus Albinus, once a trusted general, and Marcus Junius Brutus, whom I considered almost a son, became central figures in the conspiracy against me. The seeds of betrayal were sown in the very heart of my inner circle, nourished by fear, jealousy, and a yearning for the old ways. As my reforms took root and my power grew, so too did the shadows of conspiracy. The very Senate I had reformed and expanded became a breeding ground for dissent. The walls of the Curia echoed with whispers of betrayal, and the once loyal friends now plotted my demise. In the next part, we shall delve into the final days leading to my assassination, the Ides of March, and the roles played by those closest to me. The tale of Caesar is a story of ambition and power, but also one of loyalty and betrayal, a drama that would culminate in a tragic end. The reign of Caesar was a period of profound transformation for Rome. My efforts to centralize power and reform the state were driven by a vision of stability and order. Yet the very changes that I implemented stirred deep fears and resentments among the old guard. In the next part of this chronicle, we will explore the conspiracies that led to my assassination and the final moments that sealed my fate. The stage is set for a climax that would echo through the annals of history, a tale of glory and betrayal, of life and death. Join me as we continue this journey through the corridors of power and the battlefields of history. The story of Caesar is far from over. It has only just begun. The air in Rome grew heavy with tension as the Ides of March approached. Despite the outward calm, I sensed the undercurrents of conspiracy. My reforms and centralization of power had created a sense of unease among the senatorial class. They whispered of tyranny and yearned for the restoration of the Republic's old order. Little did I know the conspirators were gathering, sharpening their knives in the shadows of the Curia. In the days leading up to my assassination, omens and portents abounded. A soothsayer warned me to beware the Ides of March, a cryptic message that I dismissed with a blend of superstition and hubris. Calpurnia, my steadfast wife, was troubled by nightmares and begged me not to attend the Senate on that fateful day. Despite her pleas and the unsettling omens, I chose to proceed, believing that my destiny was inescapable. On the morning of March 15th, 44 BC, I made my way to the Senate. As I walked through the streets of Rome, accompanied by my loyal followers, I could not shake the feeling of foreboding. Upon arriving at the theatre of Pompeii, where the Senate was meeting, I was greeted by the very men who would soon betray me. The conspirators surrounded me, and as the Senate session began, they closed in. It was Casca who struck the first blow, followed by the others, their daggers flashing in the dim light. The pain of their betrayal cut deeper than their blades. As I fell to the ground, I saw Marcus Junius Brutus, the man I regarded almost as a son, raise his weapon against me. "Et tu, Brute," I gasped, my voice echoing in the chamber. With these words, I succumbed to my fate, my blood staining the marble floor. My death sent shockwaves through Rome. The conspirators, who believed they were restoring the Republic, had instead ignited a fire that would consume the state in civil war. Marc Antony, my loyal lieutenant, seized the moment to rally the people against the assassins. In his funeral oration, he held aloft my blood-stained toga and read my will, which bequeathed my gardens to the public and money to every Roman citizen. The crowd, inflamed by Antony's words, sought vengeance against those who had betrayed me. Calpurnia, my devoted wife, stood by me until the end. Her dreams and premonitions had been a harbinger of the tragedy that unfolded. In her grief, she preserved my papers and personal effects, ensuring that my legacy would be remembered. Her loyalty and love were a solace in my final moments, a reminder of the personal sacrifices that accompanied my public life. My assassination marked the end of the Roman Republic and the beginning of a new era. Octavian, my adopted heir, avenged my death and established the Principate, becoming Augustus, the first emperor of Rome. The reforms I initiated and the changes I brought about laid the foundation for the Roman Empire, a legacy that would endure for centuries. The story of my life and death serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of concentrated power and the fragility of republican institutions. The Republic, with its intricate system of checks and balances, was not equipped to handle the ambitions of men like myself. My rise and fall highlight the tension between autocracy and democracy, a lesson that resonates through the ages. As we move into the final parts of this chronicle, we will explore my enduring legacy and the lessons that can be drawn from my life and reign. The tale of Caesar is one of ambition and power, but also of the perils that accompany such pursuits. In the next part, we will delve into the impact of my rule on the Roman world and the warnings my life offers to our modern era. The assassination of Caesar was a turning point in the history of Rome. My death marked the end of the Republic and the dawn of the Empire. In the next part of this chronicle, we will examine the legacy I left behind and the lessons my life imparts to future generations. The story of Caesar is a testament to the complexities of power and ambition, a narrative that continues to echo through the corridors of history. Join me as we continue this journey through the annals of time, exploring the impact of my reign and the warnings it offers to posterity. The tale of Caesar is far from over. It has only just begun. The echoes of my death reverberated through Rome, igniting a series of events that transformed the Republic into an empire. My assassination, meant to restore Republican ideals, instead paved the way for a new era of autocratic rule. Octavian, my adopted heir, seized the reins of power, skillfully maneuvering through the chaos to emerge as Augustus, the first emperor of Rome. His reign marked the consolidation of the changes I had initiated, laying the groundwork for the Pax Romana, a period of unprecedented peace and prosperity. The reforms I implemented during my rule left an indelible mark on Roman society. My overhaul of the calendar, resulting in the Julian calendar, brought order to the chaotic Roman year and remains the basis for the calendar we use today. The expansion of the Senate, the extension of citizenship, and the establishment of colonies for veterans were measures that aimed to integrate and stabilize the vast Roman territories. Moreover, my legal and administrative reforms streamlined governance and reduced corruption. By centralizing authority, I aimed to create a more efficient and cohesive state. However, this concentration of power also highlighted the inherent tensions within the republican system, demonstrating the fragility of democratic institutions in the face of personal ambition. While my reign brought stability and growth, it also underscored the dangers of dictatorship. The accumulation of power in the hands of one individual, regardless of intentions, posed a threat to the principles of the Republic. My actions, though aimed at reform, ultimately weakened the very foundations of Roman democracy. The Senate, once a bastion of republican governance, was reduced to a ceremonial body, its power eclipsed by my authority. The delicate balance of power, essential to the functioning of a republic, was disrupted. This concentration of power serves as a warning to future generations about the risks of autocracy and the importance of maintaining democratic checks and balances. My life and death serve as a dual legacy, one of remarkable ambition and achievement, and another of cautionary tale. The grandeur of my accomplishments, from the conquest of Gaul to the transformation of Rome, showcases the potential of visionary leadership. Yet the circumstances of my assassination and the subsequent rise of the empire highlight the inherent dangers of unchecked power. The lessons from my life are particularly pertinent to our modern world. The preservation of democratic institutions and the prevention of authoritarianism are crucial challenges that societies continue to face. My story underscores the importance of vigilance, balance, and the distribution of power to safeguard democracy. As modern states navigate the complexities of governance, my rise and fall offer valuable insights. The need for transparency, accountability, and the rule of law remains as vital today as it was in ancient Rome. My life serves as a reminder that the pursuit of power, if left unchecked, can undermine the very principles it seeks to uphold. As we approach the conclusion of this chronicle, we will explore the tangible remnants of my legacy. The historical sites, artifacts, and experiences that connect us to the world of Caesar. From the streets of Rome to the ancient coins that bear my likeness, the physical traces of my life continue to captivate and inform. The legacy of Caesar is a multifaceted narrative of ambition, reform, and caution. My reign brought profound changes to Rome, but it also highlighted the vulnerabilities of democratic institutions. In the final part of this chronicle, we will delve into the enduring physical legacy of my life and the ways in which modern individuals can connect with history through travel, exploration, and the pursuit of knowledge. Join me as we conclude this journey through the annals of time, exploring the tangible connections to the past and the enduring lessons of Caesar's life. The tale of Caesar is a testament to the complexities of power and the enduring importance of democratic values. As we journey through the annals of history, the physical remnants of my life and reign serve as tangible connections to the past. The streets of Rome, where I once walked, the ruins of the Curia, where I met my end, and the Forum, where my reforms took shape, all stand as silent witnesses to the world I helped shape. For those who wish to walk in my footsteps, a visit to Rome is an indispensable experience. The Colosseum, the Roman Forum, and the Ara Pacis offer glimpses into the grandeur and complexity of the ancient city. The Vatican museums and the Capitoline Hill provide a treasure trove of artifacts, from marble busts to ancient manuscripts that bring the era of Caesar to life. Ancient coins offers a fascinating window into the past. Coins bearing my likeness, such as this one here, inscribed with titles and honors, circulate among collectors and historians. Each coin tells a story, reflecting the political and economic realities of my time. Collecting these artifacts allows one to hold a piece of history in their hands, a tangible link to the legacy of Caesar. As we reflect on my life and legacy, it is fitting to draw parallels to the Renaissance spirit, a spirit of inquiry, knowledge, and humanism that transcends time. The Renaissance, with its revival of classical learning and its emphasis on reason and exploration, echoes the intellectual curiosity and ambition that defined my own journey. As we conclude this chronicle, let us remember that the story of Caesar is not merely a tale of power and ambition, but a reflection on the human condition. The pursuit of knowledge, the quest for justice, and the dedication to humanitarian ideals are timeless values that transcend the boundaries of history. Thank you for watching and engaging with this journey through the life and times of Gaius Julius Caesar. Our channel, known as the Renaissance Spirit, is dedicated to the pursuit of a just, equitable, and humanitarian world. Our topics encompass history, politics, religion, personal development, society, culture, social and environmental justice, and other liberal arts and sciences subjects, including a special interest in ancient Rome and the Roman Empire. The Renaissance ushered in a golden age of knowledge, both lost to time and yet to be discovered. It gave birth to the Enlightenment and the Age of Reason. By embracing truth, knowledge, and compassion for humanity and our shared history, we open the world to each of us, individually and collectively. This pursuit improves all of humanity, affording us the opportunity to be better stewards of the earth and to each other. The Renaissance spirit is more than just a philosophy or style. It is a way of living, learning, growing, and thinking. Please subscribe, turn on notifications, and share. If you're looking to explore and experience what life has to offer, I'm sure you'll enjoy the other videos on my channel. By embracing this spirit, we honor the pursuit of knowledge and the understanding of our shared history. It is through this lens that we can appreciate the lessons of the past and apply them to the challenges of the present and future. But first, take the quiz to see if you're a Renaissance spirit. Live the Renaissance spirit and check out our other videos. We have 2 separate series, Rome in 30 Seconds and My Life as a Roman Emperor. The tale of Caesar is one of ambition, power, and the enduring struggle between autocracy and democracy. It is a story that resonates through the ages, offering lessons that remain relevant in our modern world. As we conclude this journey, let us carry forward the spirit of inquiry and knowledge, and strive to build a just, equitable, and humanitarian world. The story of Caesar is far from over. It continues in the hearts and minds of those who seek to understand the past and shape a better future. Vive Renaissance Spiritus! History has not died, only our understanding of it. Historia non est mortua, sed intellectus noster. And now, may I present the triumph of the Gauls, as would have been sung by my legions during my triumphs, about the notorious and scandalous rumors about me and King Nicomedes.
Caesar in his chariot ride, Vercingetorix in chains beside. Caesar's might, his victory wide, Galliotopter Caesar victor latus apertum. All the Gauls, did Caesar defeated all the Gauls, but Nicomedes defeated him. But Caesar rides in triumph, victor over all the Gauls. Nicomedes does not triumph, who defeated the conqueror. Beneath the laurels, Caesar's pride, Calpurnia back to Roman moral stride. With power and glory magnified, Caesar rides, his foes have died. Veni vidi vici, all the Gauls, did Caesar defeated all the Gauls, but Nicomedes defeated him. But Caesar rides in triumph, victor over all the Gauls. Nicomedes does not triumph, who defeated the conqueror. Vercingetorix now bows low, Caesar's enemies face woe. Rome's strength and Caesar show, Caesar invictus, omnis, tusis, victor. All the Gauls, did Caesar defeated all the Gauls, but Nicomedes defeated him. But Caesar rides in triumph, victor over all the Gauls. Nicomedes does not triumph, who defeated the conqueror. The nature of spiritus, history has not died, only our understanding of it. Historia non est mortua, sed intellectus noster. All the Gauls, did Caesar defeated all the Gauls, but Nicomedes defeated him. But he's a rising triumph, victor over all conqueror. The Renaissance spiritus history has not died, only our understanding of it. Historia non est mortua, sed intellectus noster.